Hi, it's Nicole, and today I am going to be playing with the April Stitching Die of the Month from Spellbinders. I've got a little bit of information about the clubs, and they will also be linked below in the description box below the video. And here you can get a little glimpse into my plan. I like to pair the stitching die because I only receive the stitching die. I don't have any of the other clubs each month. So I like to pair that new die with some good basics that I like to reuse to kind of show you guys how you can mix and match like new stuff with older stuff. I picked out this section of 4 colors, like the chiffon is the lightest one. I'm spacing on the names and I can't read them right now, but this cardstock swatch is something that I created. It is available as a PDF. I will try to remember to put that in the description box below. But I was just really in the mood to stay within almost like an ombre of a color. So I picked like a peachy pink color and went with the lightest and darkest within that. Now you can see on my mat here that this die is actually sized to be an A2 size card. And I've seen a ton of samples with this made as the card base, all kinds of things. I really wanted to have space around the die, and I didn't want to cut into the die and lose the like anchor points for the stitching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a 5x7 card because that's going to give me enough space to have, you know, the full notebook shown. So I'm going to use a scrap of the chiffon to die cut both pieces. I just taped them together so that they wouldn't shift. You can cut just the background with like the notebook edge, or just the inner with the stitching holes and the like embossed line, or when you put them together you get this notebook that's got the holes in it already ready to stitch. Again, I was just really wanting like soft and ombre. I am not really good with picking colors and executing colors very well. So I know what the end result I want it to be, and a lot of times I struggle. So I just like to bring that up in a video because I feel like sometimes you can see an example and it looks like choices that were made were super simple. For people like me, I am very indecisive, and so I tend to cut out a lot of me sorting through paper and stuff from videos. I like to have, you know, a video that's long enough where you can see what's going on and you're not, you know, bored, and it's not, you know, in real time. You don't need to sit here for an hour to watch me put this together. Stitching on this one is super simple. The only advice I would give is to make sure you're not pulling your thread super taut. You want it taut enough so that your thread lays flat, but you don't want to pull it super tight because you can see here I was pulling a little bit tight and the cardstock was starting to curve. So I would just kind of bend my panel back a little bit to kind of stretch out the threads and stitch another couple lines, and I just did that until I ran out of thread. I'm using tape to secure it to the back of the panel, and then I did the same color for the vertical stripe as well. I've seen this done in like white cardstock, and then you do, you know, blue horizontal and pink vertical stitching to have it look like a notebook. So that is really fun. Here I'm going to go ahead and make my card base. I only had a single sheet of this specific color, so I had looked up a tutorial on YouTube to make sure that I could cut a 5x7 card base and not, you know, I didn't want to waste anything. So I did watch a tutorial on that, and I made sure to save all of the scraps from this cut because I still want to have this color as part of my florals as well. At this point, I felt like I needed, my background was feeling super plain, and I felt like my notebook die just kind of needed a little something. A lot of times when I feel that way, I will pull out some vellum and cut some extra layers. I thought I was gonna just put a full size like die cut behind this. I didn't love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut it in half and rotate one of the pieces so you have that fun like notebook edge peeking out at the top as well as the bottom. This to me was just a way, like I said, to bring in more of that fun notebook edge, bring in a little bit of layering. Here I've got a sentiment set. I've used this one in many videos at this point. I think it's called the must-have sentiments. I love these. Anytime I'm using them, I will go ahead and do like a full sheet, and then I just tuck the extras in the bag. I think the last time I did these, I used like a blue cardstock, so I wasn't able to reuse them for this project, but having them on the white, the gold foam, I think gold foam foil is going to be really handy. Now, I don't splatter a lot. I'm going to go ahead and splatter the background and kind of tell you guys why I made this choice. I really wanted some sort of dimension and something going on with my card base. However, because my card base is 5x7, I have embossing folders that would have fit the front panel. I don't have a die cut machine that's wider than the standard die cut machine. I have a Big Shot and the Scout, so I'm limited to, I think it's like a 6-inch opening and then a 3-inch opening. So I have to kind of make decisions on, you know, what I want to do based on the supplies that I have. So a quick sort of texture solution to me was to grab some splatter, and I know that I already have gold foil for my sentiment, and I know I have some plans to use gold paper to die cut my florals with, so that seemed like a good solution. Now, I will say, the day I made this, I checked the website. This floral die set is the sealed bouquet, and the sealed line has a bunch of these like long, skinny sprigs and florals and blooms. This specific one, the day I made my card, was on the store, and when I went to do the video today and pull links for stuff, it appears to no longer be available, but there is a couple that are very similar. Otherwise, my suggestion would be, if you're going to recreate something like this, to just kind of look for things that are long and skinny, and look for a sentiment that you can kind of straddle the like sprigs or straddle the like stems of whatever floral that you're using, and you should be able to kind of recreate something similar. Like I said earlier, am very indecisive, especially with things like paper and colors, so I tend to overcut for what I need. And you can see here, I am making my color choices as I build my little floral bouquet. I have some stuff that I cut out in vellum, some gold, which is from the gold cardstock pack that Spellbinders sells, and then all the pinks are the same, like pink corals that I showed at the beginning. Many of these are super tiny scraps that I was able to get these cut from. I save all of my scraps because I will die cut super tiny things like these little tiny buds, some of the smaller flower layers. So that was why when I made my card base, I made sure to, you know, not toss those offcuts even though they were super small. So I think I cut out a good chunk of me assembling this. I did leave some of it in just to kind of show you guys that it's not super hard to put these together. I like to use the image on the packaging to kind of figure out the different layers of them, and then I just pick, you know, colors for the layers that I think will look good. And I'm also trying to mix the other 3 colors of cardstock that I had pulled and I wanted to mix in together. I did keep my little floral cluster somewhat, I would say, small. I would have made it a little bit more full if I had picked a sentiment that was wider, if that makes sense. Like, I really wanted it to just be like enough florals to be bunched behind that sentiment, So that's why I put the sentiment down first. It only has foam adhesive on the far edges so that I can tuck the sprigs and the stems behind that sentiment as I'm, kind of making decisions. So at this point, none of this is attached. It's just loosely in there. I'm going to come in with some foam adhesive and liquid glue and make sure to tack those down. To me, it was just easier to arrange everything as I was cutting it so that I knew how many more did I need to assemble, what kind of colors did I feel like I was missing, and I could make those choices as I went along instead of building a bunch of florals and then feeling like, they were the wrong color or, I wanted something smaller. So with florals, I will do the more tedious version of working as I create my cluster, if that makes sense. This little one, I decided not to put a stem. I didn't want to have to cut it down, so he's just going to kind of get tucked and look like he is down here at the bottom. I felt like I needed something else, so I grabbed these other sentiments. I don't know if these are still available. I might have to go back and look. Pretty much any kind of thin sentiment was what I was looking for. Could have been a stamp, could have been a glimmer, could have been a butter press. It didn't matter to me. I wanted something thin. And I have this 1/4 inch offcut from when I made the card base. So that is already cut to the right height. So this was super simple to just kind of go ahead and grab some more of that same foil that I used. I am still on the same pack or roll of foil that came with my glimmer machine. At first I thought, like, I'm gonna have to reorder some soon. Surely it can't possibly come with that much. There's still a ton on there, so you guys might be seeing the gold foil for a while because it's just good. It works for everything. My sentiment, the set did come with 3 like label dies. I'm gonna take this one and try to center it as best I can. It just sort of barely fit within there, but I was okay. I normally like a little bit more breathing room on either side, but it's cute, it's done, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and add foam tape again on either side of this, and I'm basically just gonna try to wiggle it in between 2 of my stitch thread lines and then have it go across those stems. Now at this point I kept looking at it and I was like, I kind of feel like it needs something, but like not a lot. So I went through my drawer of just various like gems and stuff, and I found these flat back gold pearl things from Pinkbrush. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle them kind of from the bottom right corner to the upper left corner. I don't necessarily have a rhyme to my reason for this. I just try to sprinkle different sizes and kind of overall pick a path, like I said, from corner to corner, or I will go like around a floral arrangement, if that makes sense. So with that, my card is done. You can see the still image here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know one of you asked me if a video was coming soon, and so I did make sure to get that done today. Here's some more inspiration, and if you have yet to subscribe, I'd love for you to join me, and I'll catch you guys later.